Hi, this is Nathan Tintle. In this Learning Goal video, we'll talk about how to conduct a simulation for a regression equation. We'll use the GPA and non-academic hours data set to talk about this learning goal. Here's a view of some of the data. Each variable, hours spent on activities outside of class, and GPA, gets its own column. Each row represents an observational unit, in this case one of the 42 students. To simulate the null hypothesis of no association, which implies that the population slope is 0, we shuffle the GPA column and redistribute them to the hours. That is, right now, if there is an association between hours and GPA, then knowing something about the value of the student in the left column, the number of hours they spend studying, tells us something about their GPA. By shuffling the GPA column, we break any association that could be there. Here's an example of the shuffled GPAs as well as the real GPA. So you can see now we've mixed up the GPAs and sort of assigned them to an hour. Each time we do this, you get a new scatter plot, you recompute the slope. You can do this by hand, though very tedious and cumbersome because the slope computation has a very ugly formula, or you can just do this using a computer and recompute and get many, many slopes to round out the simulation step of the 3S process. A couple of words of caution. The simulation strategy here is very similar to one we've seen in earlier chapters. You're redistributing the response values to the groups. In this case, each person acts like their own group because you have a quantitative explanatory variable. Question for you, what will the average slope be when simulating? The average slope will be 0. This is because you're simulating no association, which implies that the slope will be 0. Essentially, that as we change the x variable, hours spent outside of class on non-academics, it leads to no change in the response variable, GPA, if that null hypothesis of no association is true.